want to welcome you to our third workshop of the Eliminate Project campaign. I hope that all of you have had a great week and a great convention. We have really loved the city of Geneva, and I hope to be able to see some of it tomorrow. The hotel is beautiful, but I would like to see something else besides the hotel. Of course, I hope that you have stopped by the Eliminate booth. Project Eliminate booth is on the second floor, and if you have not, please make your way to the booth either after the workshop or sometime before the closing session. You can collect a lot of detailed information that is in many languages and take those home to your club, and you can begin your work for your dedication to elimination of maternal neonatal tetanus from this earth. You know, you and I have been truly blessed by being a member of Kiwanis, and I believe that we are blessed to be a blessing to others, and there's no better way to do that in celebration of our 100th anniversary of Kiwanis in 2015 than to deliver to the world a gift that all maternal neonatal tetanus has been eliminated. What a gift we can give back to the world. There are many, many reasons why Kiwanis chose to focus on eliminating maternal and neonatal tetanus. Not only is maternal neonatal tetanus a heart-wrenching preventable tragedy, there is already a proven and measurable action plan in place to eliminate the disease. There are a lot of facts and figures about maternal and neonatal tetanus. I don't want to list all those statistics, and we've got some great speakers here with us today that I don't have time to do that, but I would like to review for you some main points that I think are important for our discussion and to explain this highly preventable disease. First, I will say, before I get into those, be sure to come to the closing session because even if you've been to the other workshops and you think those have been fantastic, you haven't seen nothing yet. And that closing is really going to be the emotional launch that is necessary for our campaign, and I encourage you, it will inspire and touch each and every one of your hearts. But there's a lot of facts, and some of these main points that I want to share with you before introducing our guest is that maternal and neonatal tetanus has already been eliminated in 20 countries. Kiwanis, when we raise our $110 million to fill the gap to eliminate maternal and neonatal tetanus, we will be a leader and global health advocate on this issue and others. Kiwanis will provide this last needed push to eliminate maternal and neonatal tetanus. And the way I explain it is there's 200, World Health Organization and UNICEF has done a very extensive study, and they have determined that 240 million will accomplish this plan, of which they already know where 130 of that is coming from. They needed this 110 million, and that was the application that they filed with us. And basically, we are the game changers. We are the one that's coming in to fill the gap to take this thing home. And if we don't do that, then all the other rest of the plan slips, and then it's even more money. So it's critical that we be the game changer and that we succeed. If you were able to come to a workshop in our previous days, you heard us discuss the importance of the project and how together we can eliminate MNT. In our past workshops, we talked a lot more about that, but we also discussed our relationship with UNICEF and how our victory over IDD changed the world, and how together we will change the world once again. If you weren't able to join us, please stop by the Eliminate Project booth where our team can share with you the facts of MNT and a lot of the other details that I don't have time for today. and how our project will keep families whole. And again, I think we have some of our partners here from UNICEF. If y'all would please stand so we can welcome you.
Okay.
Kate, that's you. Others are over at the luncheon preparing for the luncheon. So please make your way to that immediately after this, because it will be starting then as well. But today, we would like to share with you a more detailed picture of the campaign, the nuts and the bolts. We will give you information about how to accelerate your own fundraising efforts with your club. We will also provide you information on activity that's already happening around the world. I am extremely honored to introduce to you our first speaker. Used to be my boss. Many of you already know past international president Dave Curry. As vice chairman for the Eliminate Project's fundraising campaign, Dave oversees the 4 regions of the United States. And as if past president and campaign vice chairman were not enough, Dave is also serving as a district coordinator of this project for the District of Montana. So if you would now, please help me to welcome Dave Curry.
Thanks. Thanks, Randy. Everyone in this room, you already know that we're all a miracle. I mean, of the hundreds of eggs or millions of sperm that are possible to create a human being, we beat the odds. And we all know that how tough it is to struggle with the idea of a little baby beating the odds, existing in the first place, and then going through 1 week of pain and suffering and then dying because of MNT. How many of you saw that Make It Personal presentation at 10:30 either Thursday or Friday? So the vast majority of you. That really solves for me and for everyone who was there the why that we're doing this. And if I could summarize the why for me, it's we don't get a lot of chances to have an impact on the world. We had IDD 20 years ago in 1991, and this is the second opportunity, and I was involved at the club level with that. This is the second opportunity I'm involved in a worldwide effort. You know, when will be the third? Another 20 years from now? There's very few chances that we have to have an impact on the world. But the second reason is because we're Kiwanians. You know, we can't solve every problem in the world, but by golly, we can all get together and solve one. And that's what we've come together to do. But the third reason is because this darn tetanus needs to be eliminated. And Dr. Button's description on Thursday and Friday of nerves triggering muscle spasms so intense that they can break bones, and nerve endings so sensitive that sights, sounds, and a mother's touch are too painful for endure, we know the why. And what we're going to share with you today is some of the what and the how for solving this problem. So this first screen is called the comprehensive method, and it's some resource consideration. We know that Kiwanians raise money through fundraisers, but let's not forget that all of the clubs have treasuries that already have money in them. And even better, think of your club treasury of saying, well, not only will we give $1,000, but we'll give $1,000 each year for the next 4 years. Those multi-year contributions are extremely important. Clubs and district foundations have money, not only available now, but even better, what about a 4-year commitment from a club or a district foundation? And even taking that to the next level, what if those contributions are matched with individual contributions to raise twice as much? And that brings us to those individual contributions from the members, which can be multi-year commitments, and even better, they can be used to match others to levels of commitment like the Zeller and the Hickson to bring in other funds. Local businesses and foundation, and picture those even better with multi-year and with matching others. So there's all kinds of ability to use funds. Remember, this is a worldwide effort, so we're from all kinds of different cultures, different countries. So some of the ideas we're going to share may or may not work for you, but pick the ones that do, and if there's other things that work for you, grab onto those, okay, so that we can raise the money to make this happen. So you have to be flexible and you have to be willing to compromise. The second screen is we need money now, okay? We hear in the campaign, and it's really true, that we're on a marathon, we're not in a sprint. So this is a 4-year effort of consistent effort. But I'll tell you one thing, we can't just sit at the starting line for the next 2 hours waiting after the race has started if we think we're going to win. And we need to do some things right now. We have to fund some things right now. We have to build momentum right now. We have to have some immediate successes right now to get some excitement and to get some confidence and to get some credibility. So it's really important that we bring some money into this effort right now. If we could go to some of the things that we're going to do specifically, is we are going to toss out a concept to you called a model club. And what a model club is it's a $750 per member US pledge over the next 4 years. Okay? So that seems like a significant amount of money, and when you break it down, as you'll see in a minute, it isn't. But these clubs are going to be committed to fundraising now, and they're also going to be committed to fundraising throughout the campaign. We envision the impact of model clubs of raising up to 50% of all the funds that we're going to raise in this effort. It's going to inspire other clubs to give. It's going to give us really necessary momentum now. And most important, it's going to save and protect 416 lives per each member at this level of commitment. There's another variation called a 100K club. And what's that? Let's see if we can guess. It's a club that gives 100K. How's that for truth in advertising laws, huh? We need 100 clubs to become 100K clubs. And this concept came because in 2015, we celebrate our 100th anniversary as an organization. And what a better way to celebrate being a worldwide organization of service than having a club that has contributed 100,000 and being one of 100 clubs that do so. It's got significant impact. It's a very high achievement. It motivates other clubs to give. It raises significant funds. And most important, it will save and protect 55,000 lives. And that's what we're all about. So let's talk about the first official model club in the world. And this is the Silver Bowl Club, and I'm going to share with you some of the things that worked during the process of getting them to be a club. First of all, we showed that video. Just that 6-minute video was probably all that was needed to make that a model club, although there was some talking involved, as I'll share here in a minute. But it really opens eyes up. We were up in Great Falls, Montana, talking to a group, and there happened to be 3 people in the room that were not Kiwanians. And after they saw the video, they all 3 came up and asked if they could join that Kiwanis club, okay? I made a personal commitment that if they would become a model club, Eva and I had agreed that we would fund 1/3 of that amount over the 4 years, okay? We decided on some new fundraisers so that we did not affect the amount that we were currently raising and giving in the community, okay? So we weren't going to turn around any of our efforts, current efforts, towards this effort. We were going to do new fundraisers. We had a full vote of the membership, and the most effective part of this is we offered all kinds of options. A club assessment, if you were to agree to a club assessment of $15 per month, that's 50 cents a day, you're a model club. With our third contribution, one of the club options was they could donate $10 a month. They could donate $5 a month and do some fundraisers. They could do just fundraisers. And what our club decided to do was self-assess themselves $5 a month, and then they're going to do 1 extra fundraiser a year to raise the additional amount that's necessary. One of the club members said, well, why don't we just pay out of our pockets, pay the darn thing so I don't have to worry about it anymore. He was overruled by many of the other members of the club. But the important thing is you can have all kinds of combinations of this, whatever works for your club, but it makes it easy to envision that we can do something and that we can achieve a high level by breaking this thing down. Was it easy? We had 2 full meetings and lots of questions. And I don't know if any of you have ever experienced this before. How many of you were deeply involved with IDD? Did you run into any negative during that time? No. I hear some little bit of laughter. We had a couple of members that were extremely negative. And we had questions about how much does UNICEF and KI get? And we're already doing so much. We're taking money away from the community. How many have ever heard that one before? Okay, that's too much of a commitment. And my favorite was, are you nuts, Batman? Okay. But you know, we answered questions for 30 minutes, and when the vote was taken, over 70% of the club said, yeah, let's become a model club, and we're a model club. And more importantly, they agreed to do interclubs throughout our entire district to get other model clubs, and to go around our division and to get other clubs to contribute at significant levels wherever they were comfortable. So it's pretty neat, and I'd like to share with you the targets that came out of that for the whole district. Because what we decided after getting our first model club, that was that if we got one model club per division, and we had one 100K club in Montana, and we had 10 clubs at $400 per member, and the rest of our membership at other levels, okay, that were lower, we could raise $600,000 for this effort. You got to remember, Montana's a small district, and that would be 1 million shots. And we're excited about 1 million shots and protecting over 300,000 lives. Can we do this thing? We have to. And my favorite quote is from Michelangelo, which will be up there in a minute. The greatest danger for most of us is not that our aim is too high and we miss it, but that it is too low and we hit it. And we have to set our aim high, and we have to make this thing work. The last thing I want to talk about is personal sacrifice, something we're calling lead gifts, which is $100,000 from an individual, a business, or a foundation. The impact is obvious. Significant contribution, provides necessary momentum, and saves and protects over 55,000 lives. Although our campaign is a little different than a traditional capital campaign, because we are relying on the network of Kiwanians instead of a few individuals. But remember, those few individuals are very impactful. They set an example, they're impacting lives, they're encouraging other contributions, especially if their contributions are matched, and they're knowing inside that they have made a difference. We did it in Butte, and you can too, and so I invite you to join us. And thanks, Randy.
Thank you, Dave. Appreciate that. Your personal remarks. Thank you. But I did not appreciate the preaching that you did.
That was
because I happened to be one of those 17 years ago that said I didn't want to do IDD.
That's right.
Interesting. So don't give up if they say no. They can be converted. The next speaker that I want to introduce you to is a gentleman that I guess the best way for me to describe Sam is that he does something that we really don't need any translators for. And it really interprets the same in all languages, and that is leads by example. I can't imagine what it's like to go to a board and convince them to be the first 100K club. But he did that way before anybody else was involved. And I think that takes tremendous courage. And really, it shows me a man. I shared with you yesterday a quote from Thomas Jefferson that said, "Show me a man with the right heart, and I'll show you swift feet." And I think Sam is an example of that. So Sam, the Cape Coral Club, the president, the club president, we all know how important that club president is. But I present to you the club president for the Cape Coral Club, Sam Huber. Sam.
Thank you very much, Randy. Randy, as always, you are too kind. Thank you very much. How's everybody doing today? You can do better than that. Stand up.
Oh. Well, there's
I'll do it with you. How's everybody doing today? Energy. That's what this program's about. You've got to have the energy. You've got to be willing to go out there with a smile on your face and talk about how Kiwanis is going to save the world. And this is how we're going to save the world. In our club, I took over at a critical time. Every club has a little bit of infighting and some problems. Ours were at a magnified scale. We had the division and the district down there intervening in our club business because of the nonsense. So I realized The day after my slate was elected, I realized we had to do something big. We had to do something to give people something to do. And we thought about it. We got together. We put a whiteboard on the wall in my living room, and we discussed what are going to be some of the things that are going to be huge projects for our club to get involved in. And one of the things we came up with was to lead Kiwanis in something. And 2 weeks later, we departed for the International Convention. We got there, we heard about Eliminate. Within half an hour of the presentation ending, I was on the phone back to Cape Coral, assembling the board for a meeting via phone. And we discussed it. They said, bring some details back. I crunched some numbers, very preliminary numbers, and we discussed how we can do this, how we can set an example. Instead of being troublemakers, let's be the unifiers. Our club needed to come together, and our goal was to try to bring the whole district and division together behind a cause. So we did a few things. We made some internal cuts. We operate a chain of thrift stores. We were able to cut some overhead out of there. We also reevaluated some internal priorities. We took some programs that weren't working, and we used the resources to a better program. We came up with a model of $20,000 a year for 5 years. And we made our initial check at our 50th anniversary gala back in April. And so what better way of timing, we thought, 50 years of service with a $100,000 gift to the children of the world. And we had the press there. Randy came down. The story that ran the next day was a story of the leaders in the community. We're known as the preeminent service club in Southwest Florida. In 50 years, we've given $20 million worth of grants to Southwest Florida. And the story that ran the next day was Kiwanis does it again. Now, think about that. We have people coming to every meeting now who read our story, who sees our blogs, who knows what we're talking about. They're joining our club. They're making the fundraising easier for us. We're asking for personal commitments from the membership, which we're matching $2 for every one they put up. We are subsidizing Hickson Awards and now Zeller Awards for our membership and also around the division. We're actually, Randy, this is the first you've heard this, we're actually going to be paying off our commitment earlier because our fundraising is going better than expected. So this is a wonderful opportunity. I would encourage any club out there to do whatever it takes. If you think you can't do it, you've already lost. Any club can make a huge difference. And as with Chuck and Amelia back there, our district coordinators will be going all over the state, I'm sure, encouraging everybody in Florida and to become model clubs and 100K clubs. And so I'm happy to help with anybody in this room that has any questions.
Thank you, Sam. Great story. Thank you for you and your club's commitment and dedication. Need I say more? Thank you for coming to the workshop. We'll see you later. No. I mean, he just laid it all right out. Every question we've been having in these workshops, he just answered every single one of them. What a great story. But we have more. We have more. I want to welcome, for our next speaker is Philippe Delanotte. And Philippe is a regional coordinator in Europe. And first, let me thank you, Philippe, for your hospitality in Geneva. It has been a great convention, and we all let's thank Philippe and Kiwanis. So, Philippe, share your story.
Thank you, Randy, and welcome to Geneva. We hope you are having a wonderful stay here so far. Yeah. There is plenty of activity for the Eliminate project happening here in Europe, and I hope we keep up the memorandum. I wanted to share with you some information on what is happening right here in Europe. Every single one of the 32,000 Kiwanians in Europe guarantee their enthusiastic support for our new project. In order to make a success of this great initiative, the financial contributions are being placed in a different context. We decided to protect and save lives. Saving lives is the most important concept in all of our promotion campaign. The presentation of the campaign and the spreading of the vision happens in different ways. Promotion materials, such as articles, banners, gadgets, and flyers, are made available in the different national languages. Own local accents that are put in the campaign receive priority treatment. Next to the many other projects in the different districts, divisions, and clubs, it is our aim to give the Eliminate project a special place in every club over the next 5 years. Through a well-targeted campaign, we aim to motivate the clubs, willing donors, or individuals to donate their social monies to the world project that is Eliminate. Dear friends, throughout my visits over the past few months, I have heard many inspiring ideas coming from Kiwanians. I heard in Austria, 15 clubs pledged to give $2,000 and that give them the year of leadership recognition. I saw in Switzerland, and I am so proud to announce that over $10,000 has been raised in the Eliminate campaign through a variety of events. Also, by example, in Germany, they organized 2 concerts, especially for Eliminate. The Slovakia Republic, we have seen 5 donations of $1,250. And there are still 100 members in the Slovakia Republic, and they give their engagement to give €400 each over the 5 years for Eliminate. In the Belgium-Luxembourg district, I received word that in the coming weeks, we have a donation of €40,000 for the Eliminate project. Clubs in Italy, San Marino, has made a total gift of €65,000. News we heard about just last week. Also, there is €20,000 from France Monaco on this moment. The Netherlands make the engagement to make $1 million over the 5 coming years. And also Iceland. Iceland planned to raise 20 million Iceland crowns. That's €125,000. So you see, a lot of things, a lot of money is coming in from our regions here in Europe. The main idea is to have every district develop a campaign in its own way and offer it to its members. Local habits, visions, and feelings are very important for a project like this and undoubtedly decisive too for the commitment in these different regions. It will be crucial. It will be of a crucial importance to continue putting this world project in the daylight. A constant and consistent flow of information and of incentive that motivate districts to work on this project must be provided. In that way, information must constantly be exchanged within the region on where which results have been obtained and which method we used for that. Over the 5 years, there must be intense communication through the regional coordinator and the district coordinators. A continuous emphasis must be put on the necessity, the moral duty to protect and save lives. This must and shall remain the main objective. In this way, I will continuously inform my district coordinators as well as the respective governor and governor-elect of what happened so far and what is to happen. Throughout the next 5 years, the final point will be the guidance of the district officers and myself to keep the focus and the motivation sky high for the absolutely great project that Eliminate is. But there is more to do. Together with my two colleagues, European region coordinators, Jean-Pierre Berton from France and Stefan Huber from Austria, I am so proud of the European activity, but we are setting our sights high. We need to identify lead donors and model clubs. Together, we can make a difference. We heard Dave's story about Montana, and I believe together we customize our plan and do what works for our European clubs. Thank you.
Thank you, Philippe. Woo. The excitement is contagious. And he was being calm today. That's great. And I love the slide. In fact, I love it in more ways than one. Most people may look at that. I took that picture in Cambodia. I didn't know they were using this slide in this presentation. Most people may look at that picture and see no action. I see a lot of action because I saw myself. When you got 3 guys just sitting there on a bicycle, something's fixing to happen. I can tell you for sure. They're just planning it right now. Yeah. So thank you very much, Philippe, and thank you again for your warm welcome here in Geneva. I want to now introduce to you our next speaker. And coming to speak to us all the way from Australia, Peter Kimberley is a region coordinator for the Asia Pacific District, and he will be telling us about activity going on there.
Thank you, Randy. And just to clarify, Asia Pacific is split into 3 regions.
Yes.
I am responsible for one of those regions, and my 2 other regional colleagues are here with us today, but not on the platform.
He wants to make sure that he's not held and responsible for all of them, right?
I'm asked to do a few things and report particularly on the, to start with, the activity that's already happening in Asia Pacific. And one of the hard things of this job is trying to get figures down because they keep on moving. It's an absolute moving feast. Fortunately, they're going in only one direction, and already those figures on the screen are out of date. We have 2 model clubs in Australia, but I'm advised that we're close to closing a third. That $28,000 has already gone to 43 since we left home, so perhaps we should leave home more often. New Zealand have got 4 charter zellers, and I'm sad to report, given the traditional rivalry between Australia and New Zealand, which some of you might be aware of, Australia at this point can only report 3 charter zellers. But we're working hard to get past our colleagues and friends in New Zealand. In other parts of the region, Malaysia and Taiwan, 22 charter zellers between them. I don't know the split up, but that's a lot. And the most impressive thing about that figure is they all came within the last week. So by the time we get back home, who knows what that 22 might be. Philippines, I know there's activity, but I'm sorry I can't give you any quantified figures. And Japan is awkwardly placed at this point because, as we're all aware, they've got a particularly tragic disaster of their own that they're grappling with. And Japan are going quietly on MNT at this stage. However, let's remind ourselves that Japan led the world on per capita giving in IDD. So when Japan can finally get focused on MNT, we expect really big things from the Japan district. I thought the other thing that I could do in the few minutes that I've got with you today, and to try and give you something to take away from this workshop, would be merely just to share with you some of the matters that I will be raising with my district coordinators in the 3 districts that I'm responsible for, and in the 9 non-districted nations that make up my region. They're not fundraising ideas as such. They're things to keep clearly in mind and be aware of as we take this project to the next stage. I'll be reminding the folk I'm working with that they're one of a team of 9,000 people. By the time the 2011-2012 Kiwanis year opens, there'll be 9,000 people in this team with some particular and specific role to do with the execution of the campaign. And it's really more than 9,000, because I think that 9,000 figure assumes that there's one person who's the focal point in the district and one person in each division and one person in each club. And in actual fact, there'll probably be committees and groups rather than single people. So the team really that's on board could be one of 20,000 people around the world. And I'll be reminding them of that we're part of a huge effort and everybody's got to play their part. And I'm assuming that because you're at convention and because you're at this workshop, that you will be, if you are not already, one of those 20,000 team. I'll also be picking up on the point that Randy alluded to earlier, and it's an important point to make, and that is that this concept that Kiwanis is the final push. I think in discussions we've realised that it's very important that we don't try and portray Kiwanis as getting too possessive about this project of eliminating MNT. Others have been working away at this for years, and we will not do our own reputation any good if we try and take credit for the whole thing. And the words "the final push," I think, sum it up very neatly, because they make the point that our contribution will be significant, but those very words imply clearly that others have been involved before us. And I think that's a point that we all need to keep in mind and keep reinforcing it in the people that you're talking to and dealing with. I've got 5 points. The third one is to encourage people to lead by example. We all know that you can't tell a volunteer what to do. You can motivate him, you can motivate him or her, you can inspire, you can twist arms, you can do all sorts of things. But I believe the best thing you can do, we can all do, is to lead by example. I wear my Zeller pin proudly, but it's not to boast. It's because it says to people very quietly that I've made a commitment. And I think the fact that I've made a commitment, spelt by this Zeller pin, qualifies me to encourage them to make a commitment and lead by example. If I didn't wear this pin, I don't think I'd have the right to ask people to make that. And so maybe a Zeller is too much for individuals to contemplate, but there's a whole suite of individual recognitions which I encourage you to look at, find the right level for you to be at personally, and make that commitment and lead by example. I'll also be reminding people I speak with to reference IDD. IDD, maybe there were some issues at the start, but at the end of the day, IDD was left with nothing from where I sit with positive feelings. And I think by referencing IDD, we do a couple of things. We remind people who were on board at the time that we did IDD that we have done it before, and there's no reason why we can't do it again. It gives us a chance to remind people that we're in partnership with UNICEF again, and we've done it before. And UNICEF wouldn't be back doing business with us if we hadn't done it successfully the first time round. And overall, you really should be able to engender some confidence. If the thing looks very daunting, just remind people that we've been there and we've done that. And it can be done again. And for the people and the clubs, Kiwanians and clubs who weren't around when we did IDD, it's a great opportunity to tell the story. It's a story worth telling. It's an important part of our history and our heritage. And it's one way we can quietly boast about what we do and have done. And finally, I'll be encouraging people to do what I call is to seize the opportunity. And I see 2 opportunities. Kiwanis around the world is in the business of philanthropy. If you want to put a fancy word on it, that's what we do. We do it locally. Traditionally, Kiwanis clubs have worked diligently and magnificently for causes and causes in their local communities. there's philanthropic space that Kiwanis doesn't occupy. And that's a more remote form of giving where we go beyond our own communities who we know very well and we start doing things and giving to people who we don't know and will never meet. And that's space that you need to occupy at some point if you're in the business of philanthropy and want to be better known beyond your community. And we've done it with IDD again, and this is another opportunity that we should grasp and do it with Eliminate. And it creates a second opportunity because let's be pragmatic about this. Let's make this an opportunity to save and protect lives and to do all of those things, but also to promote our own cause. We believe in our own cause. All of us are always frustrated by the fact that Kiwanis is not as well known as we would like it to be. This creates the opportunity to put that name up in lights. We didn't quite do it as well as we thought we might have been able to do with IDD. Let's keep that in mind as we go forward and do it better with the Eliminate project. So thank you for being here this morning, and thank you for being Kiwanians.
Thank you, Peter. You triggered a thought when you said maybe not everyone could afford a Zeller. It triggers the thought that one of the things that for campaign purposes is concerned that you can take back, this is a 5-year campaign. You have 5 years to pay it out. And that thought process is foreign to Kiwanians. It's either now or I can't do it. And so I think that if you can change that thought process, what you are talking about is for less than 1 cent per day, that's a Zeller, 1 cent per day, where can you save and protect 400 lives for 1 cent per day? I don't know of anyone who can't do that. No one, period. Anybody can do that. And in fact, it reminds me of a challenge I made in IDD, and many years later, you know how when you come to a convention and you see somebody all the way across the hall and they're coming at you and you know they're coming right at you, and he came right up to me and got into my face and said, do you remember 7 years ago when you gave a workshop in IDD and you challenged us for $1,000 Hickson and you said anybody could do that? I said, well, yeah, I think I do. And he said, well, I thought then that, yeah, rich lawyer like you, it's easy for you to say, but I set out to prove you wrong. And I filled out a pledge card to pay for $1,000 for 3 years. And you know what? I finished my pledge in 3 months, and I pledged 3 more Hicksons, and I paid for 3 more Hicksons after that. So, again, don't be timid. People will step up. I had some other remarks, but I'm going to defer those because I want to hear from you. Do you have any questions? We've got a great esteemed panel that knows a tremendous amount and many years of experience. And so here's your opportunity. The mics are here in the aisle. Come up and we'll try to answer your questions. Well, no one wants to be first.
Good morning.
Good morning.
First, I want to say thank you very, very much. I think that this is what I've been waiting for all the convention, is to hear what ideas I can take back to our club to motivate them to get involved in the fundraising. I have made little canisters for each one of the members in my club, and to your point, if for 50 cents a day, they can each contribute $180 a year and become one of the Zeller members too. And that's what I'm going to be taking back to my club. But to your other point is, I want to get our club to aim higher too. And I think that we have a very large club, and we have 5 clubs in our area. So we've gotten really lazy. So I want to know, how do you motivate them to get back? Because it sounds like you did that.
You want to direct that to a particular person or anybody?
Anybody that...
Who wants it? Sam, yeah. You're the man.
How big is your club?
We have 74 members.
There you go.
And it fluctuates back and forth because we have a transient area, but...
Well, you know, how you get back into it, you got to have that fire, that energy. You got to go up and make people want to come to breakfast or lunch or dinner, whatever your meeting is. We found our fire. And to borrow from our international president, we threw some logs on that fire. But what we did was we got everybody active. And we did everything from small projects, you know, non-related to Eliminate, but we got everybody doing things. Suddenly, it became a culture of Kiwanis. And instead of just, this was a membership that I have, it was a culture of Kiwanis. We have families in the club. There's not a Christmas dinner where there's several of our members don't attend. We do all of these things together, and like every family, we're dysfunctional too. You know, but when you get that club motivated, working together, even for the small projects, the big ones seem that much easier. And don't start off, don't build the Taj Mahal in one day, but you can start off with a small project. Challenge everybody in the club to come up with, to go get pledges on a piece of paper that they will give to Eliminate, and see how many people can come back in 1 week with $100 worth of pledges. I guarantee you, everybody can.
Thank you.
And could I add 2 things to that real quick? One thing is that one of the things we did is we said the people who are stalwart fundraisers, they cannot participate in this Eliminate because there are club members that would love to be involved in something, but these couple of people always take over. We want them to still raise money for the community. We want some new people. And you got to think of new projects. I remember when I was down in Australia staying at this gentleman's house, he took me to a sausage sizzle to raise money for their Kiwanis club. I'd never heard of a sausage sizzle. No. And so there's all kinds of neat ideas you can look out on the internet and get something that would be inviting to other folks. And when they know that it needs new leaders, you'll get more people involved. So I would recommend that too.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Up front.
Good morning. Sue Fleschner from the Kiwanis Club of Bowling Green. Sam, congratulations on your very early efforts. That's awesome and inspiring. I love the canister idea. What a great way to take that home to your family. I'm thinking my kids could put money in canisters too, then we involve the kids. Love that. My question is twofold. One is for over here, and it's related to your blog idea, because I think that's a great way to get people in the community to learn more about what's going on, including your club members. So I want to hear more about kind of how you set that up, how people access it. And then I'm wondering more from over here, and maybe it's a Lindsay question over here, is what are we going to put in place in terms of a way for us to exchange information electronically with each other, like a learning community for other clubs to find out what fundraising activities are going on where, and how to kind of learn and grow from our own mistakes. So a question there and a question here, please. Thanks.
I'll take the blog one. Yeah. As far as the blog goes, one thing we've done, and we're perfecting this now, but we started getting our information out. It started off with a couple of tweets and some Facebook posts. One day I posted, you know, $1.80 will save a life, ask me how, you know. And so when people were getting on that, it was getting people energized online. It translates to members in your club. With the blogs, people share their thoughts and opinions, and we have not been doing it as of yet on our own website. We're going to start. What we've been doing it is on health journals and the local newspaper, especially when they run stories about Haiti. We have a large Haitian population in our community. We actually have an orphanage that our Kiwanis Club has started in Haiti. So whenever the discussion turns to Haiti, as it often does, we have a Haitian section that comes out every once in a while in our newspaper. We make sure that we tie into Eliminate and tetanus and of all the things that could be done, that should be done, and will be done. One other thing, you know, the can is a great idea. I speak to a lot of groups, and one of the things I do, I'm not going to do it to you guys, but I'll say, you know, everybody who's having a great time, does anybody have $2 in their pocket right now? And then I said, now somebody go collect it from everybody, because every hand goes up. Everybody's got $2 on them when you say that. You'd be surprised how quickly that turns into a couple $1,000s. You speak to a couple of groups all over, do it to the Rotary.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay, the second question.
Thank you.
We have when you get home this week, we have a this is a new term for me. We have a new skin on our website. Yeah, we do. And that new skin allows people to share their stories on that website, and you can go to that and discover those.
Randy, I know New Zealand South Pacific District will work the canister idea very well, and Australia District I know have got a have put a donate now link on their website. So if people read the story of that's Bob from New Zealand South Pacific.
And further, for further answer of that, each district has a district coordinator, and you can seek out your district coordinator, and your district coordinator will share the information that is available for you. In the back.
My name's Paul Price from the Springfield, Ohio Club. Back with the IDD, one of the systems that we might have encouraged is I have a club of 145 members, and they decided they would have a big function kickoff type of event for the IDD, and that money would go to, of course, to help the program. We had a kickoff event that first night. We made $5,000, and they were all delighted, and I had the courage to say that wasn't enough for our size club. And so over the next 4 years, we raised another $40,000 through other events. But I think it's important that I think it was Sam that mentioned that don't affect your current projects. You got to get new people involved in different items. The one area that we had benefit with was encouraging Hicksons and honors like that. Is that still going to be a possibility
Yes.
that we can build over the years for Hickson awards?
Hicksons are still available. If you want your $1,000 to go for a Hickson, it is still available.
And can we
No
do it over the 4-year period?
I
or
don't
5
think
year?
over that period of time. I think they've limited that to like you'd have to go to KIF and check that, but I think it's 2 years because they don't want the accounting
Okay.
so something along that order. Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Okay. Up front.
Hi, I'm Ava Adams-Talley from Scarborough, Maine, and Port Charlotte Sunrise in Florida. I have been working on the Eliminate project in both Maine and Florida this year, but I would like to encourage everyone to encourage members of their clubs when they go to a medical professional in 3 minutes, you can summarize the Eliminate project and what we are trying to do. And every time I have done this year, I have never been denied a contribution because medical professionals care.
And I would add to that, would you like to join us and be a Kiwanian? Because I believe there is a huge,
Yes.
fertile landscape out there for professional medical people looking to be involved and can be solicited and brought into your clubs.
Thank you.
And that, in turn, will raise money for other projects which will enhance local. This is not an either-or. And I think that's very, very key for you to present that to your clubs.
Yeah, Randy. Dennis Williams again from McKinney, Texas Club. Just want to share something we had, since it's a sharing forum here with IDD. We had a hard time selling it at the beginning because of the people saying we want to do things locally. But I've got the older members of the club to agree to let us to sell it if we didn't demand it. And what we did is came up with piggy banks. We got them from Walmart. We gave everybody a piggy bank and said, just start collecting your change. And after a while, people brought them in. We gave another piggy bank. And we just started growing. And we made our commitment. The problem was back then is once we made our commitment, we quit. So I like the 5-year approach. Every year we're going to do something to start adding towards that commitment and keep it going. Next year it might be a Santa Claus bank or something. I don't know. But go to your Walmarts, and as she said, go to your local stores, your local banks. The people will put something on the counter that says, ask me about MNT. And I think if you get money from all your sources, that's a commitment, whether it's the jars, the piggy banks, or whatever. We just have to look at all the sources available, and we can make the money.
Thank you.
Personal, personal recommendation for your club, get really big piggy banks.
Right. Actually, we're in the process, I feel pretty certain we're going to have a piggy bank that's going to be branded and so forth, that's going to become, that's one of the things that's in the works right now to do that. I want to also bring up, though, because I know that this question's out here. If it's not out here, I know definitely it's in your club, and it's one of those, yeah, well, wait a minute, 5 years, we only have 4.5 years left when you said this is going to end. Yes, but all of us in professional fundraising know that we are allowed another year or so after it actually formally ends to collect those funds and to go with that. So it's still 5 years that you can pledge and perform those pledges. I'm going to, one more question, because we've got the Eliminate Luncheon that's starting in about 3 or 4 minutes, and I don't want to run over, and we're on a very, very tight schedule there. So up front.
Well, actually, this is not a question. It's an idea that we have in Panama. I'm from Panama City, Panama. My name is Jose Jaen. Every meeting, we meet every Tuesdays, and what we do, we have a small raffle. We ask all the members to pay $1 for the raffle. We raffle a cup or whatever. It's a raffle to raise a small amount of money. And I'm thinking now that I go back, I'm going to come up with the idea that money that is raised every week, maybe $50, be put into this fundraising for you people, because I think it's a great idea. Imagine every Tuesday night we can get maybe $50, add them up, in 1 year you can add up to a few $1,000s. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Again, our purpose is to empower the Kiwanian. Empower the Kiwanian to perform and to change the world, and at the same time change themselves. I think each and every one of us know that the more you get involved in this project, if you'll let it, it's going to change and transform your life. And it's an exciting time. In fact, I think there's no more exciting time in Kiwanis than now. Our shared vision, our shared values. You've just heard this panel from all over the world, and the excitement. How many issues can you find in Kiwanis that we all get around with such passion? So again, I want to thank you so much. You have a worksheet in your seats. Write down your ideas. Don't let the day go past that. These are some things that you want to do when you go back. Any final quick? Anybody have anything they wish to add?
I have one thing. Everybody get out your wallets and your purses. We are going to go ahead and collect some money here today.
So the can is down here, and it's available to you, and there will also be another can at the luncheon as well. There you go. Anybody else? Again, if not, thank you so much for coming. We'll see you at the booth or at the closing session.